without any further delay, I have Jackie for all the expertise over Social Studio and Marketing Cloud. Over to you, Jackie.
Great. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm really excited to talk to you all today. And just to start off, here's a little bit of information about me. My name is Jackie Mennie, and I'm a senior consultant at Horizontal Digital, and that's in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So it's very cold here, not right now, but usually it is. I'm a 2020 Salesforce marketing champion, 6-time Salesforce certified. The most recent one I earned was a few months ago, the Marketing Cloud Administrator. I just finished my Trailhead Ranger. That took forever. And I have 2 degrees from the University of Florida, and I love dogs. They might bark or come in the room, I don't know. Anything can happen. So in case they do, you are warned. Okay, today's agenda, I will be going over some pieces of Social Studio. So we'll be doing a little bit of overview and administration, publishing, listening and analyzing, and then I'm going to provide you some resources and then some Q&A, give you a chance to talk. So I would like to start by asking if anybody in this group, is anybody using Social Studio right now? Everyone's muted. You can just answer in the chat if you want. Okay, so it looks like a couple people not using it yet. Okay, so then this question I hope everyone answers. What social media platforms do you personally use? What's your favorite one? Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Pinterest, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, anyone? Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Someone else thinks LinkedIn. Okay. So we have a good mix. Like a lot of Twitter, a lot of LinkedIn. No surprise, right? We're Salesforce. We're always on Twitter. Okay, cool. Keep it coming. You know, it's good to talk about this. So I am going to start out with some demographics in general, just about some of the social media platforms that Social Studio supports. And I want to highlight that the data that you see on the screen, this is based on United States users. I did not have information on India users, but the purpose of this slide is to really show you that there are differences between each platform and who's using it. And so let's talk about some of those differences. I think the one that surprised me the most for the United States users is that Twitter, half of the users are female, half of the users are male. And I thought that more male users use Twitter. So that one surprised me. And I guess this didn't surprise me that 96% of users in the US use Facebook on their mobile device. And then, I thought since this is a B2B group, this was interesting that 71% of US businesses have Instagram accounts. Anybody else surprised? You can say in the chat, or you don't have to, but there's a lot of differences too. I didn't put them on the slide, but there's huge differences across the age demographics on each platform. So different platforms are popular with different age groups. We probably all knew that too. And also the income level is very different across the platforms. So the point of knowing this, and although the information in India, the demographics are going to be slightly different, the point of this whole slide is to prove that there's going to be variations across all the platforms, and that's really important as you think about what content you're putting on each platform, because what you don't want to do is put the same thing on every single platform because you have different audiences. Makes sense, right? Is there any way you can pull country data through Social Studio platform? I'll get to that, yeah, good question. Okay, so this question I get asked a lot is, what platforms does Social Studio support? So the screenshot here, these are all of the currently available platforms: Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, you know, kind of the basics. And then I put some notes for you, just some things I've learned along the way. So if you want to connect a Facebook account, it must be a business page. You can't connect your personal Facebook account to Social Studio. And then for Instagram, it not only has to be an Instagram business account, but the Instagram business account also has to be connected to a Facebook business page. So that one has caused a little bit of trouble for some of my clients in the past, and they had to get all the proper things connected, but it's not very hard. So a big one to keep in mind is that each social media platform, they share different types of data with Social Studio. So a lot of times you'll see that we can't get some of the same metrics in Social Studio for different platforms, and it's not necessarily a problem with Social Studio. It is a problem with the privacy laws and what that platform will share with third-party system. You can also connect Bitly to your social media platform, but that's done in a separate screen. So yeah, I'm gonna keep going. And one thing to highlight is, in a minute, I'm gonna start switching between, I'm gonna try to do a live demo. I'd like to really get in the tool for everyone to see it. So I do have these slides as a backup for me, just in case it doesn't work, because I don't know about you all, but has anyone ever done a Salesforce demo and it didn't work when they were live? I feel like that's just always what happens. So yeah, I have slides just in case, but the first thing that I'll cover about administration is there's sort of two parts to it. So there's your general administration, and I've actually put that on the right-hand side of the screen because that's going to be important. And then your workspace administration. So a workspace, if you're familiar with Marketing Cloud, a workspace is kind of almost like a business unit. So you'll have different rules within each workspace, and you might not give every user access to every workspace. Workspace is always on the left side. So that's why I have these two screenshots in two different places, because people forget this all the time, and then they can't find what they're looking for. So I'm gonna stop sharing the Chrome tab and then switch to Social Studio, hopefully really quickly. Oh boy. Chrome tab. Okay. So if you cannot see Social Studio right now, just yell at me in the chat. I'm gonna assume you do. Okay. So this is where you start when you get to Social Studio. This is a demo environment that my company has. So you'll see this is my company, horizontal, and then we have some other workspaces. They were kind of they were kind enough to let me have my own workspace for this demo. So I have my own, you see my name here. And if you want to get to administration, so the general administration, like I said, it's on the right-hand side. So you'll click on your picture, and then you'll click admin. And then this is where you're going to do your main setup. So if you wanted to add users, you would do that here. It's really nice looking, the setup menu, and it's really, really easy to use. So that's a bonus. I'm going to go back to my home page, and what I want to show you is the workspace administration. So workspace administration, you need to go to your workspace and you click on the gear, and you see how that's why I'm like, it's over here, it's on the left side. You can also get to your workspace administration by clicking up here, and this is how you would switch your workspace. And then if you want to go to the administration for this workspace, you click the gear. So I'm just back to that same spot. And this is important because you'll set up your users in your general administration, and then you'll also go into a workspace, and then you would grant access to a user within that workspace. Okay, I'm going to share a different tab. One tab. Okay, back to my deck. So that's a little bit of an overview on the administration. And then I don't think I'm going to spend a lot of time on reading through all of these roles, but I did want to leave you with some notes on the differences between the kinds of roles that you can give a user. So this top section is the general user setup. And then you can also give somebody permissions inside of a workspace. So a lot of people ask, they don't want their user to have all administration access, but they do want them to be an administrator of the workspace. So what you would do in that situation is you would give them a full user, and then inside of the workspace that you wanted them to have permissions, you would give them an admin in the workspace. So this way they can't control the whole Social Studio, but they can control the workspace. So you can go back and reference these notes if you're doing any setup. The next area that I'll go over is the Publish tab. So we first we talked about the Workspace tab, which I just went over, and then the next tab you'll see is Publish. So this is where you would get a calendar of all of your posts that you have published or posts that you have scheduled. And in this space, you can work with team members, and this will help you collaborate and visualize everything. And then you can view everything in this built-in calendar, and you can filter it on the left-hand side. So that's really cool, and I'm actually going to show you live how to publish a post. Get excited. Chrome tab. It's kind of, sorry about this. This is like awkward that I have to keep switching tabs. It's the only way to let me share. So what I want to do is, number one, I want to make sure that I'm in the right workspace, because I'm going to show you how to publish a post, but I don't want to publish it on behalf of my company. I want to publish it in my workspace. So I went up here on the top left, and I'm switching workspaces. So you can see that these are tweets that I made earlier this week. And I'm going to tweet right now. I'm going to do tweet. And I'm going to say post to, and I'm going to post it to Twitter. And my message is going to be, I'm having, enjoying Salesforce Saturday with the Pardot user group. Okay, so I'm going to do a really basic tweet, and I'm not going to add any pictures with it. You can add a label, which will help you later with reporting and analyzing the information, but I'm not going to do that. And I don't have any links, so I don't need to use Bitly. And I would like to publish it now. If I wanted to publish it at a different time, I could do that, but I'm not going to. Just want to publish it right now. And I'm going to hit green. So now you see it showed up on my calendar. So it's really easy, and if we want, we can go to Twitter. Oh. Well, you all can. Did I spell Pardot? No? Okay. It didn't pick up the mention, but that's okay. Okay. So that's publishing. Share again. Anyone knows a better way to keep hopping between these Chrome tabs? This is not fun. Okay. So we went over this slide, and now you have notes on that if you need to go back. And then the next thing that I want to show you is the Engage tab, which I will switch to right now. So the Engage tab is where you are going to monitor incoming posts. And this is where you can really connect with your audience, and this is where you can start doing some customer service as well. So what you would do here is you would maybe even have multiple social media channels if you wanted. One thing that I just added was I'm actually pulling in the Trailblazer community here. So now I only have to go to one space, you know, to keep up with my Twitter and also to keep an eye out for what's going on in the Trailblazer community to make sure I don't miss anything. You'll notice that some of them have red and green smiley faces or sad faces. And this is the sentiment model in Social Studio. So one thing that you can do is you can tune it, and you'll do that over time, and Social Studio will start to learn an algorithm and start to understand your social media platform a little bit better over time. So sometimes it thinks that it's a negative sentiment, but it might not be. So let's say this is wrong, you would go into here, and then we would change the sentiment to neutral. And then Social Studio will start to learn over time that that was not a negative post. So what I like to do in this area is you can like, let's say someone mentioned me, I could like their mention, or I could like their tweet, or I could comment on it. So this is a way to keep up with everything that you have going on. My favorite tab is definitely the Analyze tab in Social Studio. The Analyze tab is really where I say we do our social listening. And social listening lets us analyze conversations from any source on the internet for the most part, and to follow your industry and hear what people are talking about within that industry. So you can watch for fresh topics and trends, and you can use dashboards. And this is going to help you stay relevant with your marketing activities and make sure that you are in the right space and that you're using the right keywords to get in front of your audience. You can drill down into post level details, and you can even identify new business opportunities by searching for keywords and phrases and then using the dashboard to monitor the results. So let's look at my Twitter summary for my account page. I don't have a lot of followers, but you can see that it's green, right? It's on an upward trend. And I can click into any of these. So what I'll do is, let's go to this word cloud. Now click in here. Let's say I want to look at marketing champions. If I click into this, what I'll do here is, sorry, distraction. I clicked into marketing champions, and now I can see all of the posts that appear with that hashtag. So I think that's pretty cool, a way to find out, what people are talking about and understand how these words associate with different posts. So if I look for Trailblazer Community, we can see, oh, that's cute, guys. I'm gonna like that. See, I liked it. Okay, so this part is really, really fun. It's probably my favorite thing to do. One thing that it didn't show yet is the social listening dashboard. So that will be the top option here. And that's where you're going to use a topic profile. So a topic profile is a way to look for one of the biggest things you can do with a topic profile is you can pull in sources. So let's say you want to follow, 10 Twitter accounts. They're not your accounts, but you always want to keep tabs on what they're doing. You would create a topic profile. Let's just say custom. Then you would create a keyword group first, which would be the keywords that you care about. So let's say I care about Salesforce, or I want to find a post that says Pardot or Marketing Cloud. I'm going to create keyword group. And then I'm also going to do a source group. So where I mentioned that you can pull in certain accounts, so they don't have to fall into those keywords. We can just say we always want to see their posts. So I can create a new source group. And I'm going to add the source to say that I always want at Salesforce, no matter what their posts are. Add it, save source group. This always takes a second. So then I want to change this to say, see how it says include match? I'm going to change it to say include all content. You can also change that to say exclude all content. So there might be certain accounts that you never want to see in your dashboard. And so you can use the source group to block them out of your results. So I'll save the topic profile. And now this social listening summary is going to populate. This one's a little slow to load. Let me look at the questions. How many workspaces can you create? Is there a limit? I don't don't know that. I think the Workspaces depends on your contract. I would have to look that up, but no, it's 50. There's 50, the max is 50, I know that. 50 workspaces, that's the limit. Okay, so this loaded, and you see that we're getting results from YouTube, we're getting blog results, so we are looking across the internet for results. You'll notice that you won't see any Instagram results here. And remember earlier when I said that there are differences between which platforms share what data? Instagram doesn't seem to share as much data with third-party platforms. So that's why you're not seeing the Instagram results. But if you own an Instagram account, a business account that's registered to here, you can still pull in those results. Okay, I think I am actually running out of time because I know we have some great presenters. So I'm going to go back to my slides, and there's just a couple other things that I want to talk about. Hopefully everyone can see. Again, yell at me if you don't. Okay, so one thing that I didn't really cover today is some of the automations that are possible and what you can do with, I would call this more of the advanced features. So everything that I showed you today about setting up users and a workspace and registering accounts, those are what I would call the basics, right? That's things you have to do. You have to do all of those as a baseline in order to be able to do the next step. So we could maybe have another session about this a different time, or figure out how to follow up on it. But the social customer service, that's what you can connect to Salesforce Service Cloud. And that's when we really get into some cool things here, because you can have service agents who might be able to, they can stay in Service Cloud and they can watch for any kind of service requests that are coming in on social platforms, because that's happening more and more frequently this day and age. You know, people just, they want to connect with you where they want to connect. So this allows us to have one single view of that customer, and the service agent actually makes it a lot easier for them to interact with the customer, because they have any case details right in front of them. They have the customer information from Service Cloud, and then they can respond right in this window and push a tweet out and respond to this person, or DM this person to help them resolve the issue. So this can track all sorts of posts, and it can even turn a social post into a case or a lead, and lets agents be part of that conversation online, and just makes it so much faster and easier. I just wanted to announce, just in case anyone wasn't aware, there is a mobile app for Social Studio, and some of the things the mobile app allows you to do are compose a post. You can schedule a post, you can monitor what's going on the, like, that's sort of like the Engage dashboard, and then you can respond to those posts. This slide is just a takeaway for you. These are my favorite trailheads that I used when I learned Social Studio, and some of the documentation that I thought was the most helpful. So take a look at it. If anyone has any other notes or resources that they thought were helpful too, I'd love to hear about them. And there's also a really interesting YouTube video that if you have a client or a company that's already using it, and kind of what to do when you jump in there instead of standing up a new Social Studio. So I'll let you take this home and look at it whenever you have time. And then one little thing here, just in case you're interested, I left this slide for you just to tell you the company that I work for, Horizontal Digital. We have 4 offices in India, and we're opening a 5th one in August. There might even be some of my team members on this call because I invited them. I don't know if they're here. If you're here, say hi in the chat. If not, that's okay too. But I just left that information for you if you want to take a peek at that. And if you ever want to get in touch with Anil, he is a managing director in India and he's amazing. So with that, I'm just going to answer some questions now. Oh, country data. Someone had a question about country data. I'm going to answer that. Just going to share my screen. I'm going to go back to Social Studio and show you about country data. Okay. Can everyone see Social Studio? I hope so. So there is country data in Social Studio, and it's really, really cool. So you can get the country data, and you can also get language data about the posts. So if I want to know India, I would just click into India, and then I will start to be able to see which of the posts in my topic profile are coming from India. Did that answer the question? There's a lot of different ways that you can use the country data in filters, and I didn't really go too far into that in the dashboard setup because we didn't really have time, but just know that you can drill down into this, and you can do that within an Analyze tab, you can do that with your Engagement tab, and you can do that in a report or a workbench. What user role should the agents have to listen to the clients and the keywords? So I think, is that question asking what Salesforce user role should the agents have?
Hey, Eliana, if you would like to come over the mic and ask the question directly to Jackie, it would be great.
Okay. Hi, Jacqueline. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Well, my doubt is when you were showing the tab for the social listening for the customers, and you were saying that the agents can like read and answer the questions or the question that they are like creating. What role the agent should have, like a general user or a specific one?
That is going to vary by your CRM setup and your organization rules. So there could just be a permission set that you would grant when you install the connection, but they don't need to be a user in Social Studio, I don't think. So it would just be your normal, when you hook it up, yeah, it's a hard question to answer because I'm not in your org, but generally speaking, there would be probably just some permission sets you might need to grant in addition to that. But usually that answer I think is going to change depending on each CRM. But I could follow up with you about that one specifically in your use case.
So, okay, I get it, but I just can use one on the business unit of the specific one just for the agents, and they can use that access, or it's like a general one? Like the workspace, I need to create a workspace just for the agents, or?
The agents are going to work actually in Service Cloud, so they don't have to go to Social Studio. That's kind of the brilliant part about it, is that they're going to stay in Service Cloud where they usually are.
That's perfect. Okay, now I get it. Okay, thank you, Jacqueline.
Yeah, you're welcome. Suppose.
We have one more question by Shubham. Suppose an organization is setting up SSO for their social story implementation, how we can get metadata?
That is a really complicated question that let's follow up offline about how to get the metadata, because I have some resources for you, but it's a complicated question that I think that I'm going to get in trouble if that's a really long answer, and I know I'm out of time.
Yeah, no worries. So feel free to reach out to Jacqueline over Twitter, LinkedIn. I'm sure she would love to answer any of your questions. So because there,
Yes, please.
yeah. So I know there are time constraints over virtual events, but again, thanks again,